Hi City, I'm Ariana Perez and I'm here with City on Screen as well with The Square. Welcome guys, thank you very much for joining us. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Jack and I'm Deputy Editor of The Square.
I'm Scott and I'm Editor of The Square.
All right, hi Jack and Scott, many thanks again for joining us. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you do at The Square?
So we're both journalism students and as we introduced, I edit The Square and Jack's Deputy Editor. So we're responsible for the day-to-day running and ensuring that there's all sorts of different kinds of content there, from news to features to sport.
Okay, and the same thing for you, I'm guessing?
Yeah, again, obviously journalism student, and we just we oversee the day-to-day handling of The Square and look at all the different contributors and the pieces that are coming in, and yeah.
Great. Now, have you had any previous experiences that maybe led you to launch The Square?
Personally, other than being a journalism student at City, not much, no.
The reason we launched The Square was that City University is renowned for its journalism department. It's considered the Oxford of journalism if you listen to Wikipedia. But yet they don't have any independent student media, which many would consider to be a hallmark of a university, that there's something that can hold the university to account, a bit of a thorn in the side of the university, most student media is. So we were quite surprised at that, and we thought we would kick things off with The Square. We came up with the concept. The Square, the name of that is from Northampton Square, which is the central point of the university. And we decided we wanted it to be something quite new and a bit different from what was already on offer. So we started off in March when the student elections were on, and it's really just gone from there to now.
Fantastic. Now, I do know that you coin yourselves to be innovative, independent, and investigative. Is this because you want to generate change, as you were just mentioning now, bring something new to the university, but eventually is it for change or for something else?
I don't think so much it's about change, it's about holding to account the people who should be held to account. So for example, universities now are big businesses. We're paying £9,000 a year. There are people who are paid from that money to do a job, from university staff to the union staff. For example, Rima, the president, and the vice presidents as well. So it's really important that someone is checking that they're doing their jobs and that someone is speaking up for the students independently from the university, because something that's quite interesting is the salaries of the union are actually paid directly by the university. How possibly can an organisation hold the university to account when they're writing the paychecks?
Right.
I think the word change, as you said that we've used it, probably refers to the change in the student media rather than as wanting to change the university, because like we said already, because there was no independent student media, we don't believe that before they were able to hold them to account as much as they should be able to. Therefore, I think the word change is a reflection of that.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're saying that you are trying to hold people into account. Do you think that you have achieved that so far, by any chance?
Well, I mean, one of the first things that we did was the coverage of the student union elections, and obviously there were two candidates for president. There was quite a famous story that we got out there about one of the candidates, and I think that was definitely holding someone to account. I mean, none of the official student media outlets were allowed to cover that particular story, but it was, when we published it, it was something that students quite clearly wanted to know about, as it affected the election campaign, it affected how they would want to vote, and I think that was a great example of how student media should and is now holding people in the university to account.
Okay, and how do you think students received that article? What would you say was the overall response to that article that you published?
Well, what we do is we report what happens. We reported the tweet, we reported the reaction to that from students, from societies. The reaction, people were admittedly surprised by the tweet. It was a very shocking thing, especially at such a diverse university where we have all these different cultural groups, including gay people and all sorts of minorities. That somebody who was running to represent the students would write such a thing on Twitter and then stand by it and say more offensive things about it. I think people were shocked.
And the reaction to the content of the story, because of the nature of it, was quite negative, but the reaction to us publishing the story, getting it out there, was overwhelmingly positive.
Right. Now, speaking of social media, you currently hold 623 likes on Facebook, when there are other social outlets, media outlets of the university that have been existing in the university for much longer, and some of them have not reached that outreach maybe. How did you think that it was going to be, obviously when you launch something as a square, you expect that you want it to be successful. Did you think it would happen that fast?
I mean, we reach an average of 5,000 to 10,000 students a week, just through the nature that people share content and it's seen by a lot of people. It pops up in news feeds, etc. So we actually reach a lot more than just 600 across the university. So, I mean, I think we knew that there was a gap, that there was no independent student media, and it's such a critical part of a university that naturally it was going to be received quite well, especially when you consider the kind of stories we're covering, which are things which are interesting to people and things which directly affect the students every day. Okay.
Now, some of the stories that you have published have been called sensationalist by others, maybe. You've used words such as scandal, chaos, and even top secret. And some of the responses, for example, the article you published on Facebook and also on your website, obviously, which was the bar launch, saying the exclusive, people's responses were, what's your problem? There are plenty of pubs in the area. Others said, it's a shame that all of this is a complete lie. And then other people said, such a reliable sources from the journalist students here, well done. Obviously, probably being safe to consider that it was a sarcastic comment. How much would you say that your paper is factual versus sensationalist?
Well, if you look at that particular story, that was published in September, I believe, and at that point we were telling people that the bar wasn't going to be open until November. Now, lots of people in the union and people who worked for the bar and some students said that we weren't telling the truth and that wasn't true. It was going to open beforehand, and we stood by what we said. We said, no, we've spoken to the right people, but to the people that we should have spoken to. They've told us that it won't open until November, and we firmly believe that. So if you think we're not telling the truth, then fair enough. But October came and went, the bar didn't open. Midway through November, it finally did. So I think, although people may have called that story sensationalist, some people even called us liars. Clearly we weren't lying, because in the end it was true.
Right.
The job of journalists, especially in today's age where people don't have time to read clunky sentences, people just move on if something doesn't tell the story quickly enough. These words are simply a very fast way to the heart of the story and what it is. I mean, the bar launch was chaos. Mm-hmm. It was shut down an hour early. The whole thing was in disarray, really, and there were students left queuing outside for an hour. I would describe that as chaotic, personally. The documents which you're referring to, which were top secret, were not for general release. Therefore, I don't think you could describe them as anything but secret. And the university wasn't too happy about their release, therefore...
Could you maybe have used words such as exclusive rather than top secret?
They're not exclusive, though. That means something completely different.
Okay. But maybe the fact that you were the first one releasing them, I know that you said that they're not open to all the students, but maybe it could have been exclusive because you had released them and it could have been copied by others.
I think that would be doing a disservice to the students who are reading our work, because they were top secret. Okay. They were. You can't really get away from that fact. So okay. I think not using the appropriate words would be a terrible thing to do.
Right.
And I think the main point is we will only report facts. I mean, there have been opinions expressed that perhaps we are editorializing or whatever, but we're not. We simply report what happens. We report the reactions to what happens, but we're extremely balanced. We will only report what's happened, and the people who are expressing concerns with that are only people who are unhappy with situations that actually occurred in real life, and they just wish that they hadn't. So they think, well, we'll just scrub over the coverage of it, and then perhaps it will be erased from everyone's memories, but sadly it doesn't work like that.
I think the problem comes if something happens that shouldn't have done, and we write a story telling people that it happened. The people responsible for it happening are blaming us for writing the story rather than looking at themselves and why it took place originally. Right. And I think that's where a lot of the criticism comes from.
Okay. Now, have you found that being editor and deputy editor, do you think that this has had any impact both as a student and also as an individual amongst other classmates? Has it didn't have any impact at all? Yeah.
I mean, some people are overwhelmingly negative. That's a minority, certainly. And they're the people that Jet was referring to, the people who are responsible for perhaps not doing their job correctly, for allowing situations to happen. They're then not happy that we're reporting that. So they attempt to sort of put it onto us personally. Perhaps in that way we maybe have been affected, in that you know, that interaction. But other than that, I wouldn't say, you know, I feel personally affected in any other way than positively.
Yeah, definitely positively. I mean, the reaction from the majority of students, the majority of our classmates, I think all of our lecturers, even national newspaper journalists that are reading it, it's been great. I mean, I'm very happy at the fact that I've got involved with the Square and I'm deputy editor of it, and I think if it has had an effect on me at all, then it's definitely a positive one.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Jack, you've published an article. I don't know if maybe it was written by somebody else, but I know that on the website appears as if you had published it. It's called SOS, Save Our Settlers. There's also a petition there to change the name of the bar. And you wrote, a council intrusion, feuds between the university and the caterers, and concerns over safety of students all ultimately led to the launch party closing down prematurely. Clearly, the new name brought no luck. Now, what led to this petition?
Well, I mean, originally, as you probably know, there was a vote to decide on the new name of the bar. There were 10 options, and what we were pretty angry with in the first place was that the original name, Saddlers, wasn't an option at all. If people wanted to stick with the status quo, they couldn't. That wasn't an option. They were forced out of doing that. And I think there's a tradition at the university, if you look back, when things have been named, such as King Carrot, the mascot, 10 Squared, the previous bar, Saddlers in reference to Sadler's Wells, there's a sort of quirkiness that goes with it, and it's going back decades and decades. And to rename the bar something as generic as City Bar just ends that tradition,
Yeah.
I believe, and lots of students also believe from the feedback that we've got. And we think that if the bar was renamed Saddlers, then it would please a lot more people than it would upset.
But the thing is that wasn't the vote given to the students?
Yeah, but there wasn't an option to keep the name the same.
And how many
that
students
option
actually
wasn't
voted? How many people voted in that poll?
Okay.
We don't know.
It was terribly promoted. Lots and lots of people didn't know about it. I've had lots of people ask me how they came up with the new name, and I say, well, there was a student vote, didn't you know? No, we didn't know.
Now, but some of the people on Facebook responded to the article that you published saying, this is becoming ridiculous. It was done with a fair vote. They should just get used to it. Others said, who actually cares? And then somebody said, students were consulted on the name. Are you still intending on holding on to the petition and actually proposing it?
We've had a lot of responses from all schools, overwhelmingly saying we need to change the name back, much more than the 3 comments you've just read out.
Are these responses available? The ones that you say that you have from different schools? Do you actually have a copy of them?
Well, it's a petition, so that will be presented to the Students' Union at the AGM next Friday.
Okay, so you are still holding on to that petition?
Absolutely.
Fantastic, okay. Now, what would you say that you are most proud of? What do you think there has been a massive achievement with the Square?
I would say I'm most proud of the fact that it has, without doubt, hugely improved my writing, editing, reporting skills overall. I'm also extremely proud of the fact that thousands of students at the university now know what's going on, whereas before they didn't have a clue.
Okay. Now, Scott, you are the editor.
Yes.
Yes. What do you think? What would you say that you're most proud of?
Well, I mean, I'm immensely proud of the work done by our whole team sort of every week. We're a fantastic group. Everyone works so well together, and especially on stories, for example, like the bar, when you can see everyone coming together to work on something, or a big Pure City investigation that
the election coverage.
The election coverage. It's when you see everyone coming together and working as a team. It's fantastic. Something else is when we recruited lots of new first years, and we've seen them come along to meetings and do difficult things, come up with ideas in front of a room full of people and discuss those. And we've seen people step forward and write difficult stories. And it's great to see people improving and becoming a part of this thing, which is just going really well.
And how big is your team, more or less?
I think we're about 15 now.
Yes,
15 to
around
20.
15.
So is it growing quite quickly, would you say?
Absolutely.
Great. Where do you see it going? You're a second-year student. Next
Yeah,
year
yeah.
is your last year.
Yeah.
Just
happen?
keep going. I mean, we have a lot of promising talent within the team. So I hope that it will continue running and that we will continue to give students a real voice when it comes to the university.
Speaking about pride, what would make me most proud of all is that if the year after we've gone and subsequent years after we've gone, if we can look back and if the square is still going strong, as I think it will be.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Great.
Definitely.
And is there anything exciting in the works at the moment that maybe you could share with us?
All the time.
All the time.
And we can't share it with you.
You cannot
You'll have to
share
keep
with
reading.
us. It's a top secret.
Of course. And exclusive.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Might even be a few scandals in there.
And chaos.
And chaos, chaotic scandals. Now we'll continue with a few questions from students. So let's see. Are you guys ready for this?
Of course,
Yeah. All right. So the first question is from Morgan Fury. Do you think you could do a better job than Rima?
As president?
Yeah,
Is that?
I would assume probably.
Does she mean as president, or does she mean as pretending to be editor of the student media
assume
teams?
that, yes, it is as a SU president.
That's an interesting question.
Well, the thing is, we're not claiming to be a good SU president.
Yeah.
We have not put ourselves forward for the job of SU president. She's someone who has actually stood for election and said, I am capable of being president, I'm capable of representing you as president. We're not claiming to do that. We're simply
put
holding
myself forward because I don't think I would do a good enough job for the students at City University.
Whereas we're holding to account the people who have actually put themselves forward and said, I deserve £20,000 a year to fulfil this role.
That's like asking the editor of the Times whether they would make a good prime minister,
Yeah.
which obviously that wouldn't happen. That's in a university which is supposed to sort of be a microcosm of society. That would be a pretty inappropriate thing to happen because those roles are separate and should be.
Okay. The next question says, were any of your cartoons attached to a racial slur during the elections, would you say?
Not at all.
No way.
That's all that has to be said on that.
Not in any way.
Okay.
That's all, really.
I don't really know what to say.
No, basically.
Okay. And how many cartoons have you published so far?
Do you want a specific number or just, I mean,
More or less.
it's not been a regular thing, it's just been if we've thought of some particularly
it was
amusing.
more prolific during the elections, probably around 10.
Yeah.
Is it something that you're going to continue, or is there somewhere on your website where you can follow? You can find.
There's a cartoon section.
Yeah.
It does just depend on news events, and
I mean, I hope we can continue because that was one of the things we got the most positive feedback. In fact, one of the members of the union last year, one of the permanent staff members, said that was one of his favourite things about it. Said that he loved the political wit that surrounded it.
and Rima herself actually is a big fan.
Rima said that she loved them. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is from Fraser Moore. How do you respond to claims of being the Daily Mail of student media?
Well, I mean, if you look at the Mail, the Express, all of the tabloid publications, one of the things that they use a lot is attacking people's appearance, attacking people's family. We would never dream of doing that. We never have done, and we never ever will. And so I think for people to say that we're just like the Daily Mail when we don't do those things, which are such traits of tabloid journalism and middle market journalism in general, I think that sort of
It's ridiculous.
shows it's not to be true.
Okay. All right. So I guess the next question would kind of go hand in hand. It's from Vivek, Vadivelkarasan. Sorry if I mentioned that incorrectly. Would you agree that any of your articles attack the SU?
I don't think so at all.
No, I mean, we hold them to account. That's what we're there for. If they do something wrong, then it's our job to inform students that they've done it wrong.
We report things factually. We
Yeah.
report what happens. If that so happens to be a negative event involving the SU, we'll report it as it happens.
I think it would be more inappropriate for us to not report on the SU doing something wrong.
So if somebody was here, for example, one of the students was here and they were saying, no, we actually view this as attacking rather than holding somebody accountable, how would you defend yourself?
Do you have any examples
Yeah.
of things which are attacking?
I am just following the questions that I received that I got from students.
Well, we're happy to address any concerns people have. We're
Yeah,
very
definitely.
transparent and very public. Our Facebook page is open for comments. We have a comment section on our website. We're all contactable by email. So
If it's
we're
a
hiding
serious issue, we're
absolutely
happy to
nothing.
meet with people. We've offered that in the past.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's about it for today. Thank you very much for joining me, Jack and Scott.
Excellent. Thank
Hopefully
you.
we'll see you around soon again. If you would like to read more articles, make sure to visit thesquarenews.co.uk. And of course, don't forget to like us on Facebook at City On Screen and follow us on Twitter at City_on_screen. Thank you for watching. I'm Ariana Perez for City On Screen. 3, 2.
Oh wait, hold on. I've got a cable wiener. Let me just sort that out. Sorry, embarrassing when that happens. Okay, right.
Okay.
Welcome, City. I'm Ariana Perez, and I'm here with City on Screen and also The Square. Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Would you like
Welcome.
to-
Why did I say welcome? I'm
Thank you
hello.
for welcoming to my
Welcome. We're going to take over. Welcome. Nice to meet you. Welcome to The Square. Hi, I'm Jack, and I'm Deputy Editor of The Square.
Hi, Jack.
And I'm Scott, and I'm editor of The Circle. Oh no.
Oh my god! How do we go from a square to a circle all of a sudden?
Amanda,